Good morning. My name is Joan Claybrook. I'm chairman of the board of CRASH, Citizens for Reliable and Safe Highways, and I'm also a long-term consumer advocate and highway safety expert. I've been doing this work for about 40 years, and I'm very pleased to be here today with so many incredibly wonderful people. We are today announcing, the families of truck crash victims are announcing that we are forming a stopbiggertrucks.org webpage and campaign. We are going to campaign to make sure that large trucks do not continue to kill families, precious people on our highways. And today in our audience we have many, many people who have experienced this incredible, incredible sorrow. And also here today there will be people who will be speaking, who are behind me, who will be speaking about that. So we're launching this campaign because the trucking industry is trying to increase the size and the weight of trucks on the highway, and they're trying to do that in the big highway bill that's going to be coming up in the Congress very shortly. Now let me just be clear about what bigger trucks mean. Today, on the highway, for the federal rules, you can have an 80,000-pound truck, There's a push to have 97,000-pound trucks, and there's also a push to get rid of the freeze on longer combination vehicles. Longer combination vehicles are triple trailers, as you see in this graphic, and also longer trailers with two trailers. They're each 48 feet long. So it's very, very long trucks. They have trouble stopping in the same distance that any other vehicle on the highway does. They can't turn on and off the highways easily. On and off ramps. The highways are not built for them. They are too heavy for our bridges, whether it's these kinds of vehicles or just heavier trucks at 97,000 pounds. They destroy our bridges, and they also sway as they drive along the highway. It takes a tremendous amount of skill for a driver to keep these vehicles from harming other people. It's incredibly difficult. And so we don't want these vehicles on our highways. Now, in 1991, we got a freeze on longer combination vehicles, which meant they could only travel, mostly in western states, areas where they were allowed in 1991. And that's why you don't, if you live on the East Coast or you live in the Midwest, you don't see them, because the federal rule prohibits it. What we're concerned about is that the federal rules for truck safety are not strong enough, and that that's why people are killed on the highway. And so these are very preventable crashes. So we're starting stopbiggertrucks.org. Stopbiggertrucks.org. That is going to be our mantra. And we're going to stop the trucking industry from putting these humongous vehicles on the highway that can harm the people who ride in SUVs and vans and cars, pickup trucks. Now, we have developed a national poll with Lake Research Company, Lake Research Partners, that found that 8 out of 10 Americans believe that bigger trucks on our highways are less safe, and they are absolutely right. Larger trucks are less safe, as documented by all the statistics and analysis that have been done. And what they show is that larger trucks are more than twice, and more than that, dangerous in terms of crashes and fatalities than regular cars. And the people who get killed, 98% of the time, when there's a crash between a big truck, and a vehicle carrying people, is that the people in the vehicle are the ones that are killed and desperately injured. And that number's 5,000 a year and over 100,000 injuries a year. 5,000 deaths and 100,000 injuries. And you compare that to our war in Iraq, which has been going on now since 2003. And there we have less than 4,000 people killed. This is 5,000 people killed every single year. And when people are killed, their families suffer irreparable harm. They suffer again and again, day in and day out. When those lost ones go it's just an incredible impact on the American family, on the mothers or the fathers, the brothers, the sisters, and the whole family. And you will hear stories today that will help you understand the unnecessary harm and why we want to do this to stop this grievous harm on the highway. We also found in our poll that 16%, only 16% of the American public support the trucking and the shipping industry's push to Congress for these larger, overweight trucks. And so we're very much in tune with the position that's taken by the American family and by people all over this nation. Now, we have some very, very important and wonderful speakers. They're going to talk about the various experiences their families have had. And I just would say that the other major issue that we've taken a very strong position on is on the number of hours that truck drivers have to drive. And they now have to drive up to 98, work up to 98 hours in an 8-day period, which is outrageous. No other Americans are forced to do this. The rules and the way the law is written is terrible. And we have petitioned the Department of Transportation to lower those hours. We want a 10-hour driving day. It's now 11. There's a drive to push it more. But in addition, they don't have much time off. So when you combine all the hours they have to work, it's way beyond what any other American family has to do. And we have sued twice in the federal U.S. Court of Appeals here in Washington, D.C., the court that really understands the whole rulemaking process in the government, has unanimously supported our position. And yet the Department of Transportation has reissued that rule, and we have sued yet again. So those are the two major things, larger trucks and the hours of service that these drivers have to drive. And we also, of course, want to have, which they've knocked out of their rule, the onboard electronic recorders so that you can enforce the law when the police stop a truck. So now I'd like to introduce some of our other speakers and let you hear their stories. The first is Kathleen Ellsbury from Seattle, Washington.